Steve Dotto here. How the heck you doing this fine day? Me? I have a quizzical mind. I have questions that I need answering, and my audience are the only people that can answer them. So today we are going to explore the world of online surveys on Dottotech. You know, one of the real blessings of being an online content creator is the interaction that we have with our audience. But that only happens if we bother to ask questions. And asking the right questions, I believe, is one of the most important skills that we can develop as content creators in order to create content that you, our audience, is interested in consuming. So, creating some sort of dialogue is always important. Now, one thing I've always done on this YouTube channel is if you post a comment here in YouTube, I will always respond and I read all of those comments, and that really helps me with the direction of the content that I create for the Dottotech channel. But I wanted to be more precise this week. I wanted to ask some specific questions about the apps that you're most interested in learning more about, and the general themes of the direction that I'm taking the channel. So I wanted to create an online survey to include in my weekly newsletter. Now, there's a lot of different online survey packages. Some are free, some cost money. We've even shown you Google Forms in the past. We could certainly work for this sort of thing. But I wanted to take you through how I put my questionnaire together this week, because it's been quite a joy in how it's all kind of worked out for me. I kind of dove a little bit deeper in Forms packages than I typically have. Now, as I say, there's a variety of different great Forms packages out there. I mean, you've all probably heard of SurveyMonkey. The tool that I use is a little more kind of maybe a little less popular, a little less well known. It's called Email Me Form. And I bought a subscription to this years and years ago and have used it for a very long time and seen it go through a lot of different evolutions as it got ready, as it reached the point that it's at today. And it's quite a robust tool at this point. This isn't comparing the values of different Forms packages. This is how you can use Forms in order to generate more knowledge about your community, about your audience, about anything you want to ask about. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a simple questionnaire just on two basic topics. So let me take you into Email Me Form, and show you the survey that I created. So this is the survey right here. This is the navigation tool, or kind of the dashboard for Email Me Form. And there's a variety of ways to get your data out of Email Me Form, out of any Forms package once it's done. And I'll show you that in a moment, because that's where the real payoff is. But to start, I just wanted to show you the editing module, which is, I think, pretty standard in a lot of these different Forms packages. This is Email Me Forms Editor. Now, they've got different templates so you can make them look, prettier or in that sort of stuff. But the bottom line is you need a certain degree of functionality in any Forms package. You need to be able to capture information either as multiple choice, giving multiple selection options to people, radio buttons where they just select one particular item perhaps, and also giving them the ability to comment. And you have to capture this information into the correct fields. So what we see here are a series of different fields that I created for this particular questionnaire, and it all came from this add field menu here. And you can see the types of things that you can add. You can add lines of text, paragraphs, multiple choice, drop-down questions, checkboxes, which is what I primarily used. And they also have more advanced ones like capturing names and uploading files, adding images, having links out, and formatting for things like email and websites. And email and phone numbers, etc. And then they also have some different survey tools that are a little bit more advanced. I actually haven't gotten into using those yet, but those seem to be even in the deeper end of the whole survey world, which is deeper than I'm willing to swim today. This worked for me. Now, here's what I did is I created each of these questionnaires. And when you click on the fields themselves, you'll see that it goes into the field setting menu. And here you set the questions. You can actually rank them based on a scoring system. You can move the questions up and down as far as where the checkboxes occur. And you can add or subtract the different choices. And you can also set the order within here. You can also set directions kind of here in the field label, telling people exactly what to do, and determine exactly what the layout's going to be, whether you want 1, 2, 3 columns, etc. So that's all I wanted, because I wanted people to be able to select multiple different items from within the topic areas, and then add more if they were interested in adding some more information. A very, very simple form once it's all said and done. Once you've laid out your form, and depending on your needs, it could get more or less complex, then what we can do is we can go back out into the Forms Manager and we can determine how we're going to include this form and share this form. Because if you think about the whole form process, you've got to create your form, write your questions, create your form, then you have to find a way to get your form into the hands of your community. Once that's done, you have to find a way to collect the data that community has entered into the form into your system. So we're kind of halfway through that process now. We're at the point where we need to share this information with our community. And if we go here into the code section within Email Me form, we see we have a variety of different options for including or for creating either embeds or links with this particular questionnaire. So these snippets of code all relate directly back to the form that we just created, not to this general website, but to an actual form. So either they can host it or we can embed it ourselves. So you see here that we have the ability to create buttons, links, pop-up links, light boxes, which will pop open, or also embed codes if you actually want to include the form right in the body of your website. And they've got some different integration for different social tools, such as Facebook, WordPress, here as well. So you can, again, customize the form for the delivery platform that you're going to use. In my particular case, I just chose to create a link because I decided to let them host the form themselves. So I created this little link. I just copied this little link here. And what happened is it went out in my email. And here's the email that went out to my community this week. So I say click here for a quick Dottotech content survey. So the form that we just created, based on that link, if you click here on this button, up comes the form for you to submit your information. And we paid close attention to the people's privacy. We didn't ask for their email address or anything. I made it a very easy form to fill out. And you can see it doesn't look anything fancy. It's quick description. And I have the ability here to be able to check off anything that I want and to type in more information if I choose to. So that is basically how the entire form comes together. If you tick on Other, you then have the opportunity to add another different app that you might be interested in. So it's a fairly interactive form, fairly intuitive. Fill in your information, then click Submit. Once you've clicked Submit, I just have a simple thank you, and your job with me is done. Thank you very much. Stage 1, creating the form. Stage 2, sharing the form. Check mark, check mark. Now what we need to do is we need to evaluate the content that comes into that form. And this is where this software delighted me, and I imagine some of the other packages might delight you even more than what this one was able to do. Let's go back into my Forms tool here, into Email Me form, and let's go into the report section. I created a report for all of the information coming in. Now, I could download it all as an Excel spreadsheet or as a spreadsheet, and I could sort the data using spreadsheet tools myself. But again, I don't want to swim in that deep of water. I want the information to come very easily to me. So here is the Dottotech content survey, and let's just click on View, and I'll show you how I'll show you the results of the poll right now, and then I'll show you how I created that report. So if I just click on View, this is quite a joy. I've got a couple of fields that I set up. The first field is how many people have actually responded. So this went out yesterday. This is Monday now that I'm recording this. It went out on my Sunday email, and we've had about 600 people respond. Then I've got a chart that is that first series of questions, which is which application do you want to learn more about in the productivity space? And you can see that Evernote dominates, followed by Gmail, followed by Google Apps. But this gives me a great visual snapshot of what people are saying. These choices here, these text choices, if people clicked Other, which is that small percentage right there, these are the entries of actual applications that they want me to do more demos on. Let's go down to the second field, and this is the topics, the general topics. And this one surprised me, actually. YouTube publishing is kind of number one, followed by video editing. I never thought people were looking to me for video editing. A little bit of a light bulb moment for Steve based on this questionnaire. Then we go to screencasting, which I know you look to me for. Then we talk about email marketing. We talk about other general themes. And this final, all this text fields here, this is just a capture of all of the comments that were put in the comments field. So I can read through this all in one place without having to open up each individual report coming back. Now, receiving the reports here, this consolidates all of the information. It also also is set up so that it will email you if you choose to be emailed each and every response, so you can view each and every response as it comes in. And depending on what type of survey you're doing, you might actually want to see them all coming into your inbox. I didn't necessarily want to have 600 emails in my inbox between yesterday afternoon and today when this email went out. So consequently, I'm not having all of these emailed to me. Instead, I'm going to just use this survey. I'm going to use this report feature in order to follow the content and follow the information as it goes along. Now, let me show you how I went about creating this report. So here, if we go in and edit the report itself, you'll see that it's a very similar interface. They've got a report builder, and what you do is you select your data set from whichever of your forms you have, and you have access to all of the different forms. And you see I've created a lot of different forms, a lot of different feedback forms. I've used this for registration and for feedback and for exit surveys for people that have taken my courses, all of that kind of stuff. So you can choose what information you're going to get from them. You're going to choose how it's going to be laid out. And here it's pretty simple. I just chose to have it kind of all vertically in columns. And then you add widgets. Now, what widgets are actually how it's going to graph and how it's going to display the information. And this is what that report looks like based on their widgets. But it's really easy to manage, because if I click on any one of these fields, it gives me what the title that it is, the type of chart that I've got. In this particular case, I can have a bar or a pie chart, bar graph or pie chart, and then the data set that it's being pulled from, which I identified when I created the original form. So it's really dead simple to create reports out of this. As a matter of fact, I liked this so much that yesterday I had a bit of an epiphany, and I've got a course on Evernote. We sell a course on Evernote. And I thought, wouldn't it, and people love the course. And it's one thing to say on the sales page, people love our course, but I thought I'm going to prove it. And what I did is I took the Evernote Made Easy exit survey, which is right here. I took that content and I created a report out of that content, which looks like this, which is just basically your overall rankings. And I chose pie charts in this about how much people like it. And now I'm not able to change the color. This was pointed out to me that it'd be nice to be able to have a different color for each of the fields. For instance, yes is blue. It'd be nice to be able to demark that. I don't have that ability, but oh well, that's not that big a deal. But then what I did with this is actually very cool, is I took this form, and again, I went into the widgets, and I took the embed code from it to embed the report itself, which is this embed code here, and I put it into the sales page for Evernote Made Easy. Well, let me just show you, so people can see in real time the feedback from students if they're thinking about buying the course. I think it was a stroke of genius. So that gives you a great overview on using forms for communicating with your constituency. As I said, if you do a search for different form packages and response packages online, there are dozens of different choices. Email Me form for 2,000 responses a month costs me about $10 a month, and you can typically expect to spend between $10 and $30 a month depending on what functionality you need. And a lot of the other packages, of course, go in very deep and will do data analytics for you and a bunch of other things as well. But for me, already, this report is bearing fruit. It's making me reevaluate some of the types of content that I was thinking about building as we head into the winter season, and reconsidering and maybe making something that's more valuable for my community. I hope you found today's video to be useful. Now, there's 3 ways for you to stay in touch with us here on Dotto Tech. The first is please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Secondly is subscribe to our newsletter. Then you'll hear about all of our upcoming webinars, tutorials, courses, and you'll be surveyed from me when I send out surveys. Lucky you. And finally, Dotto Tech is a community-funded channel supported by the generosity of you folks at the crowdfunding site Patreon. I encourage you to drop by our Patreon page, take a look, and see what perks are included in supporting Dotto Tech, and those perks be awesome. Till next time, I'm Steve Dotto. Have fun storming the castle.